You're lying there, phone in your hand. It's late, or maybe it's the middle of the day, and it doesn't even matter anymore because the hours have started blending into each other. You're scrolling, just scrolling, and then you stop on something, a post, someone announcing something, a promotion, a new house, an engagement, a life that looks like it's moving, and you just stare at it. You don't feel happy for them right away. And that scares you a little, because you're not a bad person, you know you're not. But in that moment, there's this hollow, quiet ache that starts somewhere in your chest and spreads slowly. And the thought comes, the one you hate admitting, why not me? Why is everyone else moving and I'm still here? And then you put the phone down. Maybe you close your eyes. Maybe you stare at the ceiling, and the thoughts start. One after another, like a storm you didn't see coming. What am I doing wrong? Is something wrong with me? Did I miss my chance? Am I too late? Am I enough? Have I ever been enough? And you don't say any of this out loud. You smile when someone asks how you're doing. You say, I'm okay, just figuring things out. But inside, there's a whole storm happening. There's a whole world inside you that no one gets to see. And the loneliest part of it all is that you're not even sure how to explain it to yourself. This message is for you, not for the version of you that performs okayness for other people, not for the version that knows all the right spiritual quotes. For the real one, the one who scrolls in silence at 2 a.m., the one who cries in the car sometimes and then fixes their face before they walk inside, the one who prays and then wonders if anything is even listening, the one who feels so deeply, thinks so intensely, and carries so much and still shows up, still tries, still believes, even when the belief feels like it's barely breathing. That one, I'm talking to that one, because I need you to hear something, and I need you to hear it slowly. Not the surface-level version of it, not the Instagram caption version, the real, deep, stay-with-you version, the version that might crack something open in you that's been waiting a long time to be cracked open. You are not falling behind, you are not broken, and you are absolutely, completely not overthinking. You are waking up. And those are two very different things, but no one tells you the difference. And so you spend months, sometimes years, treating your awakening like a malfunction. You diagnose yourself. You tell yourself you're too sensitive, too much in your head, too emotional, too slow. You try to think less. You try to just go with the flow like everyone else seems to. You try to stop asking the deep questions. You try to just be normal, but you can't. Can you? And that inability, that thing you see as a flaw, that inability to just turn it off, to just stop thinking so deeply, to just stop feeling everything so fully, that is not a flaw. That is a frequency. You are tuned to something most people aren't tuned to, and it doesn't make you better than anyone, but it makes you different in ways that matter, different in ways that have a purpose, different in ways that are being developed right now, in this silence, in this waiting, in this season that feels like nothing is happening. Let me tell you what's actually happening. There is a preparation that happens in silence, not the kind that makes noise, not the kind that posts updates, not the kind that other people can see and validate. A quiet, deep, underground preparation, like a seed. You've heard the seed analogy before, maybe, but I want you to actually feel it this time, not just nod at it, actually feel it. A seed doesn't look like anything is happening. If you dig it up to check on it, which, by the way, is exactly what overthinking is, it's you digging yourself up to check if you're growing. If you dig it up to check, all you'll see is a small, broken, open thing in the dirt. It doesn't look like progress. It doesn't look like growth. It looks like decay. It looks like something dying. But something dying and something transforming can look identical from the outside. And the only difference is what's happening on the inside. Something inside you is breaking open, not breaking down, breaking open. And your mind, your powerful, relentless, never quiet mind, has been trying to make sense of it. Because that's what minds do. They try to explain things. They try to categorize things. They try to take an experience and put it in a box with a label so that you can manage it, control it, understand it. But what's happening to you doesn't fit in a box. It never has. Think about it. Think about your whole life, honestly. You've always been the one who felt things more. The one who asked questions that other people didn't think to ask. The one who noticed things, small things, the energy in a room, the way someone's smile didn't reach their eyes. The way a song made you feel something you couldn't name. The way certain moments felt bigger than they should have. The way you sometimes looked at your own life and felt like you were watching it from somewhere slightly outside of it. Like you were both in it and watching it at the same time. Most people don't experience that. Most people move through their day touching the surface of things. And that's fine. That's their path. But you've always been someone who sinks, who goes deep, involuntarily sometimes. Against your own will sometimes. And you've spent a lot of time wishing you were more surface, wishing you could just be light about things, wishing things didn't hit you so hard, wishing you could scroll through that phone without feeling that hollow ache, wishing you could hear someone's good news and just feel good for them without that complicated tangle of emotions underneath. And here's what I want to say to you about that. That complexity is not a curse. That depth is not a disorder. That sensitivity, the very thing you've been trying to tone down, trying to manage, trying to hide, that is your most important instrument. That is the thing that will allow you to reach people no one else can reach, to speak into places no one else can speak into, to carry things no one else can carry. But it has to be developed first. And development is not glamorous. Development does not look like success. Development looks like exactly what you're going through right now. Let me be really honest with you for a second, because I think you need someone to be honest with you, not encouraging in a vague, feel-good way, actually honest. There's a reason this season feels so long. There's a reason the silence feels so loud. There's a reason the waiting feels so heavy. And the reason is not that you're doing something wrong. The reason is that what's being built inside you requires time, requires pressure, requires exactly the kind of conditions you're currently living in. Think about the most valuable things in the world. Diamonds. They're not made quickly. They're not made comfortably. They're made under conditions that would destroy most other things. Extreme heat, extreme pressure, total darkness. And for a very long time from the outside, nothing looks like it's happening at all. And then one day, one specific, particular day that the diamond didn't choose and couldn't predict, it emerges. And it's not just valuable, it's indestructible. That is you. That is what this season is making you. But here's the thing about that process that no one talks about. The diamond, while it's being formed, doesn't know it's becoming a diamond. It just knows the pressure. It just knows the heat. It just knows the darkness. It doesn't have a bird's eye view of the process. It doesn't get progress updates. It doesn't get to see a preview of what it's becoming. It just has to go through. And that's what makes it so hard for you. You're not unintelligent. You're not unaware. You actually understand quite a lot about what's happening to you, which is almost more painful than not understanding it, because you can see enough to know something significant is happening, but you can't see enough to know when it will end or what it will look like when it does. And so your mind fills in the gaps, as minds do. It tells you stories, scary ones mostly. It tells you maybe this is just how life is for you. Maybe other people are just luckier, more favored, more chosen. Maybe you're the one who always almost makes it. Maybe you've been waiting for something that was never actually coming. And I need you to hear me clearly when I say this. Those are not revelations. Those are wounds talking. The voice that tells you you're too late is not wisdom. It's fear wearing the costume of logic. The thought that says everyone is moving except you is not an accurate observation. It's pain distorting your perception. The feeling that you're invisible, that your efforts don't matter, that maybe you misread your own destiny, that feeling is real. But it is not the truth. Here's the truth. The unspoken, not cliché, stop and sit with it truth. The loudest voices in your head right now are not the ones that know the most about your future. The quietest knowing inside you, the one underneath the noise, the one that somehow still believes even when it has no evidence to, the one that keeps whispering, hold on, hold on, hold on, that one is the one connected to something real. You already know this. Somewhere under all the overthinking, all the spiraling, all the second guessing, you know. You know this isn't over for you. You know something is being built. You know, even when it doesn't feel like it, that you have not been forgotten. You haven't been forgotten. I want to stay here for a moment because I think you need to feel this, not just hear it. I know you've had moments of deep, specific, particular loneliness. Not the loneliness of being physically alone. You can be surrounded by people and feel this loneliness. It's the loneliness of feeling like no one quite gets it. Like you're speaking and people are hearing you but not receiving you. Like you're in the room but not fully in the room. Like there's a version of you that you've never quite been able to fully bring out into the world because the world hasn't felt safe enough or ready enough or right enough for it. And in that loneliness, there have been moments where you genuinely wondered if you were the problem, if you were too much or not enough, or somehow fundamentally misaligned with the way the rest of the world works. And maybe in those moments you went quiet, not just physically quiet, but internally quiet. You stopped sharing. You stopped asking. You stopped hoping out loud. You pulled some part of yourself back and inward, and you've been carrying it there, safe, protected, waiting. There is something profound in that choice, even if it didn't feel like a choice at the time. That pulling inward, that going quiet, that retreat into yourself and into something bigger than yourself. That wasn't failure. That was formation. You were being shaped in a way that required stillness. And your soul, even when your mind was screaming, found the stillness, found it somehow. And here's what I want you to understand about silence. Real, deep silence. Not the silence of giving up. Not the silence of depression, though I know sometimes it can blur. But the silence of someone who is being prepared. That kind of silence is not empty. It is the most full kind of silence there is. God, and I use that word knowing you might have your own name for what you feel working in your life, the universe, source, the divine, whatever word carries the most truth for you, that presence does some of its most significant work in silence. Not in the noise, not in the celebration, not in the season of momentum, in the still seasons, in the quiet ones, in the ones that look from the outside like nothing is happening. Think about every person who has ever done something meaningful with their life. The ones who changed things, who reached people, who created things that lasted. Almost every single one of them has a chapter that looks like yours right now. A long chapter, a confusing chapter, a chapter with no clear title or direction. A chapter that in the middle of it felt like it might just be the whole story. Like maybe the rest of the book wasn't coming, but it was always coming. It is coming for you. And the preparation happening in this silence is not random. Every moment of confusion you have moved through has been teaching you something. Every overthought thought has been sharpening you. Every time you felt behind and pushed through it anyway, you were building a muscle that most people don't have. Every time you sat with a hard feeling instead of numbing it, you were developing a capacity for depth that will one day allow you to go into the places where other people can't follow and bring people out. Not because you're special in a way that makes you separate from everyone else. Because you've been through something, and you let it form you instead of destroy you. That is the thing that makes the difference. Not talent, not timing, not luck, not who you know or what opportunities you've been given. The difference is this: what you do with the season that breaks you. Some people let it break them and they stay broken. Some people let it break them and they rebuild into something harder, colder, closed. And some people, the rare ones, the ones who came here with something specific to do, they let it break them open. And they stay open. And they keep going. You've stayed open, even when it hurt, even when closing would have been easier, even when the world gave you every reason to become someone who doesn't feel so much. You stayed someone who feels. That is not weakness. That is the bravest thing I've ever seen. And now I want to talk about the overthinking. Because I think we've been calling it the wrong name for too long. When you turn something over and over in your mind 100 times, when you play out conversations that haven't happened yet, when you analyze the same situation from 17 different angles, when you lie awake going through possibilities and outcomes and what-ifs, when you're in the middle of a normal Tuesday and your mind is simultaneously in last year and next year and 7 possible versions of next month. Everyone calls that overthinking. You call it overthinking. You've probably apologized for it, probably tried to stop it with every tool and technique you could find, probably felt shame about it, like it's a flaw in your operating system. But let me ask you something. Have you noticed that the same mind that spirals about your own life also sees things other people miss? That the same mind that won't let you sleep at night also solves problems in ways that surprise people? That the same mind that replays a difficult conversation for days is also the mind that understands people at a depth that takes them off guard? That the same mind that looks for every possible way things could go wrong is also the mind that prepares for things no one else thought to prepare for? It's the same mind. All of it is the same mind. You don't have a broken mind with one good part and one bad part. You have a powerful mind that hasn't yet learned how to direct all that energy with intention. That's different. That's actually very different. Overthinking is undirected depth. Awakening is directed depth. And you are in the transition between those two things right now. The transition is uncomfortable. It feels like your mind is at war with itself. One part wants to spiral, and the other part is learning to anchor. One part wants to catastrophize, and the other part is learning to trust. One part keeps looking out at everyone else's life, and the other part is slowly beginning to understand that your path is uniquely yours and cannot be compared. That transition, that uncomfortable, confusing, exhausting transition, is not a sign that something is wrong. It is the awakening itself. You are not overthinking your way into a crisis. You are thinking your way into a consciousness that is bigger than the one you were operating in before. And bigger things require bigger adjustments. And bigger adjustments feel from the inside like falling apart. You're not falling apart, you are expanding. And expansion hurts. No one tells you that. They show you the expanded version and they say, look how beautiful, look how far they've come. But the actual moment of expansion, the moment when something inside you gets bigger than the container it was in, that feels like breaking. It doesn't feel like growing. It feels like something is wrong. Nothing is wrong. You are right on time. I know that's hard to believe when you're looking at someone else's timeline. I know that's hard to receive when the evidence in front of you seems to suggest otherwise. I know that right on time can sound like a consolation prize when what you actually want is the thing you've been waiting for. But right on time is not just comfort, it's strategy. Think about what happens when something is forced before it's ready. Fruit picked too early. It's hard, it's bitter. It doesn't carry the sweetness it was designed to carry. And the hardness doesn't go away. It was never given the conditions to develop. It was taken before it could become what it was supposed to be. And think about fruit that's allowed to stay on the tree until it's fully developed, until the warmth and the time and the nourishment have done their complete work. When it comes, when the season is actually right, it's everything it was supposed to be. The weight of it, the sweetness, the fullness, the completeness. You are not bitter fruit being held on the tree past your time. You are ripening fruit being protected until the moment when you will carry the full weight of what you were designed to carry. And the waiting is not punishment, it is protection. Let me sit with you in the pain of this for a second, because I don't want to skip over it. I don't want to rush you into the hope before we actually acknowledge the weight. I know there have been nights, heavy, specific, particular nights, where you lay down and the questions came in like a flood, where you thought about all the years, all the trying, all the praying, all the believing and hoping and working and waiting, and you felt something shift inside you, not dramatically, not like a breakdown, just a quiet, slow, devastating shift, like something going from warm to cold. And in that moment, you might have made a deal with yourself. You might have said, quietly inside, with no audience, if nothing changes, I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this. And then morning came, and you kept doing it. That moment, that specific moment of choosing to keep going when everything in you wanted to stop. That moment is not small. That is not just resilience. That is the work that is being done in you. Every single time you chose to keep going when you had every reason to stop, something was deposited. Something was built. Something inside you was strengthened that cannot be seen from the outside, but is as real as anything visible. You are more prepared than you know. You are more ready than you feel. You are further along than you appear. And here is the thing that I believe with everything in me, the thing that I want to be the thing you carry away from this today. God is not silent because God has forgotten you. God is silent because God is working on something that requires concentration. The most intricate, detailed, careful work requires quiet. A surgeon doesn't operate with music blasting and people talking. A craftsman working on something that requires precision becomes still, becomes focused. The silence around you is not abandonment, it is attention. You have God's attention, not in spite of this season, because of it. This season is happening because what is being built through you and in you and for you is significant enough to require this level of care. Not everyone gets this season. Some people are used quickly and for simple things, and they move fast, and it looks like success, and it feels like success, and it may even be success. But then there are others, the ones who are being prepared for something that requires a different kind of readiness, the ones who need to have been through something real before they can hold something real, the ones who need the depth before they can carry the depth. You are one of those. And I say that not to separate you from others in some prideful way. I say it because you need to understand why your path looks the way it looks. You need to understand that the comparison you've been making between your behind the scenes and everyone else's highlight reel is not just unfair to you, it's deeply misleading. You're not running the same race. You're not even in the same race. You are on a path that was designed specifically for you, and it will lead to things that were specifically designed for you, and the timing of it has been specifically arranged for you. And nothing anyone else achieves or announces or celebrates takes anything away from that. Nothing. I want you to feel something shift in you right now. I want you to feel, even just slightly, even just for a moment, the weight of that. The specific, particular, deeply personal attention that has been on your life. The specific nature of what you have been through and what you have survived and what you have carried and what you have learned and who you have become through all of it. You are not an accident. Your sensitivity is not an accident. Your depth is not an accident. The questions you ask, the things you feel, the way you see, none of it is accidental. All of it has been given to you for a reason. All of it is part of the equipment you will need for what's ahead. And what's ahead is real. I need you to let that in. What's ahead for you is real. It is not a fantasy. It is not wishful thinking. It is not a dream that you invented to cope with the hard parts of now. It is the actual future that is being built for you in this very season. The connections you haven't made yet. The doors that haven't opened yet. The version of you that hasn't stepped forward yet. The work that hasn't been done yet. The people who haven't found you yet. The impact that hasn't happened yet. All of it is real. All of it is coming. All of it is being prepared with the same careful attention that has been preparing you. Now let me talk to you about identity for a minute. Because I think somewhere in this long season, some things have gotten muddled. I think the waiting has been used against you in the most subtle, quiet, persistent way. Not by other people necessarily, by the small voices, the ones that sound so reasonable, the ones that don't announce themselves as lies, they just slide in as observations. You've probably started defining yourself by this season, not consciously, but in the way you talk about yourself, the hesitation before you tell people what you're working toward, the way you qualify things, the way you've stopped saying certain things with certainty because the certainty felt foolish given how long things have taken, the way you've stopped dreaming out loud, the way the vision has stayed close to your chest, protected but also dimmed. You shrank, a little, gradually, without deciding to, just survival, just managing the gap between where you are and where you felt you should be. And I want to call that out. Gently, with love, but clearly. You are not your delay. You are not your silence. You are not your confusion. You are not defined by the chapter you're in. You are defined by what was placed in you before the chapter started. And what was placed in you is not diminished by circumstances. It is not reduced by time. It is not cancelled by confusion. It is not erased by the waiting. It is in you, alive, intact, growing right now, in this moment, even as you're reading this, even as you're carrying all of this. You are still that person. The one you knew yourself to be before things got complicated, before the rejections and the delays and the confusion and the comparing, before the world's timeline started interfering with your knowing. That person didn't go anywhere. That person is not something you used to be that you have to somehow get back to. That person is who you are, right now, underneath all of it. And here is what I want you to declare, not perform, not say because it sounds good. But actually, from somewhere real, say this to yourself. I am not behind. I am being built. I am not confused. I am in transition. I am not too much. I am exactly right for what I was made for. I am not invisible. I am in the preparation that happens before the reveal. And I am not overthinking. I am waking up. These are not positive affirmations for the sake of feeling good in the moment. These are orientation statements. They are you choosing to look at your actual situation from the angle that is most true rather than the angle that is most painful. Both feel real, but only one is accurate. There's one more thing I want to talk about before we close this time together. and it's something I haven't seen many people talk about. The thing about awakening that nobody warns you about. When you start to wake up, really wake up, the things that used to numb you stop working. The distractions lose their distraction. The things that used to make you feel okay about not thinking too deeply suddenly don't do that anymore. You can't go back to the surface because something in you has been introduced to the depth, and it can't unknow what it's known. And that can feel like something going wrong. It can feel like you're becoming more anxious, more restless, more discontent. But what's actually happening is that you are becoming more awake. And a person who is more awake cannot be comfortable in the same spaces that comfort a sleeping person. You may have found that things you used to enjoy feel empty now. Relationships that used to feel easy feel complicated now. Conversations that used to satisfy you feel surface level now. Goals that used to feel meaningful feel like they need to be recalibrated now. This is not you becoming difficult. This is not you having unrealistic standards. This is your consciousness rising to a level where it simply cannot pretend anymore, cannot settle for less than real, cannot stay in less than aligned, cannot go backward. And the discomfort of that specific restlessness, that specific dissatisfaction is not something to fix. It is something to follow. Because on the other side of it, there is alignment, real alignment. The kind where who you are and what you're doing and where you are and who you're with, all of it matches. All of it rings true. All of it feels like coming home to a home you've never been to, but have always known. You are moving toward that. Every uncomfortable day of this season is moving you toward that. Don't go back. Don't shrink back. Don't trade the discomfort of waking for the comfort of sleeping. Even though sleeping is easier, even though the people around you might not understand why you can't just be content, even though you yourself sometimes wish you could just turn it all down and be normal. This is your normal. This depth is your normal. This intensity is your normal. This level of feeling, thinking, seeing, knowing, this is just what it's like to be you. And it is not a problem to be managed. It is a gift to be developed. You are going to look back on this season one day, not with detachment, not with the false peace of pretending it wasn't hard, but with the deep, specific, grateful recognition of someone who can see clearly what was happening when they couldn't see it at the time. You are going to understand exactly why it took this long. You are going to see the people who weren't in your life during this season and understand why they couldn't be there. Because you were being shaped into someone they couldn't have been present for without disrupting the shaping. You are going to see the doors that didn't open and feel, for the first time, genuine relief that they didn't. Because you'll know what was on the other side of those doors, and you'll know it wasn't meant for you and would have taken you completely off course.
You are going to see all of it, and when you see it, the word that will rise first is not finally. It will something quieter than that, something more like of course. Of course, this is how it happened. Of course, this is the shape it took. Of course, this is who I had to become first. Of course, that day is real. It is ahead of you, and this is what you are in the middle of right now. This is the path to it. So here it what I want to leave you with. Not a summary, not a list, just this. You have been carrying something the most people would have put down a long time ago. You have been holding on to something that has asked a great deal of you. You have been faithful to something that has not yet shown you its face, and you have done all of that in the world that mostly rewards the visible, the fast, the certain, in the world that doesn't have a category for what you are going through, doesn't have language for what you are becoming, doesn't have a timeline for what you are part of, and you are still here, still soft, still open, still reaching, still believe, still becoming. That is not small, that is everything. You are not overthinking, you are way into a dead end. You are feeling your way into your trust life. You are being led, even when it doesn't feel like leading, even when it feels like wandering, even when it feels like standing still. You are being led to something that is going to require exactly the version of you that this season is building. Don't rush it. Don't resent. Don't try to shortcut it. Just keep going. One more day, one more choice, one more breath, one more act of trust in something you cannot yet see. And know, really know in the place where you are, keep your most honest trust that the silence is not emptiness. It is preparation, and you are not overthinking. You are waking up, and the whole world is about to feel it.